Billy Quizboy reminding me I need to answer that earlier question about the right age to get a kid their first cell phone. I feel you should try to delay for as long as is socially possible. Flowtech Wolf, thank you. You originally asked about this. So what my wife and I have decided is a multi-pronged strategy on how to handle Lex, technology, and social media. We do not share many photos of Lex across social media. I am not trying to besmirch the decisions that other families have made, especially other tech reviewer families, because they have different levels of comfort and they came to different conclusions. And that is literally all I am saying. Is that we have made a different decision about how to handle Lex. Part of what informed our decision is both my wife and I came from Hollywood, talent, management, casting, and we both sort of appreciate the power of what goes into a contract or a negotiation when it comes to things like likeness rights. And I made a decision that I did not want to leverage part of the growth or success of my YouTube channel on making my adorable little baby girl one of the main features or models without her ability to contribute to a conversation about how her likeness would be used. And that also extended into just social media in general. My wife and I, when we grew up, we would have photo albums and they would have all kinds of embarrassing baby pictures in them. But a friend of ours, often a girlfriend or a boyfriend, would have to come to the house where one of our parents would then pull out the embarrassing photo album book and everyone would have a good laugh at our expense in one physical location with one set of photos, and that was the relationship. Sorry, I know I'm rambling here, but I am getting to a point. So we started Lex off with as minimal a footprint on social media as we could. So I want to say maybe when she was 5. What we started doing was giving Lex individual purpose-built gadgets with no ability to go online without us being able to observe what she was doing online. And so the first thing that we started her off on, she was taking care of her own headphones. Later, we got her really nice noise canceling Bluetooth headphones. And then when she was comfortable like plugging those in and charging them and putting them in their case and doing all of that, and we're talking about a 5-year-old, so this wasn't all at once, this happened over a period of time. Then we got her a little MP3 player. And the only ability for that thing to catch any kind of data is it's got a built-in FM radio. So that's it. Like her ability to be unmonitored in catching some kind of information that we aren't privy to is FM radio. I'm sure she could still get herself into problems with an FM radio. Kids are very resourceful like that. So increasingly, she's 8 years old now, increasingly she is getting more unmonitored tablet time. There are a couple little games that she likes to play. She loves puzzle and clue games, things like Monument Valley. So we've started allowing her to expand on that. And we know next year in school, she's probably going to get a gut rot Chromebook to help facilitate her schoolwork. She still does not get unsupervised time with YouTube. We'll let her browse on her own accounts for Netflix and Disney Plus, but we've put pretty strict limits in place on what she can get to on either Netflix Kids or on Disney Plus on a kid's account. Oh, and I'm sorry. The other thing that we've now started training her with is a smart watch. And I think, because she's already busted one of them and I set it down. So this is an unfortunate name for a watch. It's called the TikTok, but it's not TikTok, the social media site. This is the one that she busted. So this is a little TikTok watch. It is very much like a Samsung Gear. All those people who are calling me a Samsung hater, look at how accessible I had the Gear ready to go. The original big Bengal Gear. This had a SIM card and it was basically a little mini phone. Even has like a little home button right there. Flippin' loved this thing. I would kill to see Samsung return with something like this in the market as like a proper phone replacing wearable. I digress. The TikTok is very similar to that. And it's got a little SIM card and you can go with any carrier that you want that's compatible with the bands. You put it in the SIM card. We're paying like $10 a month for her to have emergency contact services to us. This is how we LoJack our daughter. It's location aware, but we highly manage what she can do on it. We strictly control who she can communicate with it. And as she gets older, we can use this to start opening up if she wants to send a message to one of her friends or something like that. So for my daughter, experiencing this slow ramp of technology, I feel we'll be talking about a proper cell phone of some kind, maybe when she turns 10. I know my daughter, and my daughter is whip crack smart. She is very clever. She's also a little emotionally immature for her age. Single child, 2 years of global pandemic. She's got a lot of life that she still kind of needs to experience and get up to speed with these social situations. And I feel putting a smartphone into an 8 or a 9-year-old's hands right now is a recipe for disaster. But I have made that decision for my family, and obviously that needs to be weighed against the maturity of the kid, case by case by case. Like if you're the third child in a family and you're parents of two older children and you've got a third coming up and you've got a hand-me-down phone, and you can make that transition happen because those kids have seen the other two kids grow up in front of them. Completely different situation. But our timetable right now is we're going to look at 10 for some kind of feature communication device that isn't a big chunky watch on her wrist. So we're going to use this smartwatch to transition her into a basic, for emergencies mostly, communication device. And then from there, we need to see how she grows with that device, how she interacts with her friends on that device, and then we can start talking about some kind of smarter device. But she has always been using single-purpose technology. It's combining these gadgets that makes me a little anxious. She's got a pretty good eye for photography, but she's mostly shot from mirrorless cameras. Like she has no interest in picking up my phone to snap a photo. But if I say, hey, do you want to go out on a walk? We can, kind of shoot some photos. I've got to do something for an article. She'll be like, great. And she'll go and run and grab my old Panasonic. She doesn't think of the phone as the platform to do that because she has access to my old busted cameras. That's the kind of evolution that I think parents need to decide for their own kids. It's not just one day we flipped a switch and now they're exposed to technology and they have internet access. I feel it's way better to on-ramp and start small and build up and also let them fail. I don't think her MP3 player works anymore. She did an amazing job of taking care of that for 2 years. She destroyed this first smartwatch that we got her. It took a year, but a year of 6 to 7-year-old abuse finally did this watch in. But we grow, and she kind of understands now the limitations of those things, and that's way less of a hit on our finances for her to destroy a little mini smartwatch and a little MP3 player than if we had waited until she was like 10 and then just given her an iPhone. It's to me, it's a process. It's never just this age is what is going to be most appropriate. It's what is the maturity of that child and what can you expect them to take care of? And that's going to be a different answer for every parent out there. From Zhaubotnik, what's funny is Zhaubotnik writes, does your girl even care about having a phone? One of the reasons why I say my daughter is a little emotionally immature, and I point to things like we spent 2 years locking her up, and we were really strict about the lockdowns for the pandemic. She missed out on some of those like growing social conflicts, peer group interactions, and she's catching up now. I mean, it's not like I'm saying my daughter's stunted for life, but those earlier experiences or when she like sees people using a phone, I don't think she equates that with communication or freedom. She looks at grown-ups always looking down at their phones and well, that's boring. I mean, we could be talking or playing a game or telling jokes or throwing food at each other or doing anything else. And I feel like increasingly, especially younger and younger people coming up, the smartphone looks like this obligation to your lifestyle. It doesn't look like the kind of freedom that I felt the phone was going to be in the early and disruptive days of mobile computing. So she doesn't think of the phone if she wants to take a photo. She loves picking up a big old camera. She doesn't think of the phone when she wants to listen to music because the music plays in the car and she had an MP3 player that she could control, that she took care of. And I think by starting her off that way, the phone isn't the end all be all, but I know as she gets older and her peer groups kind of niche down and become a bit more cliquish, especially getting closer to middle school, that's when it's going to matter more to her. Right now, she kind of knows they exist, but she also knows what I do for a living, and so it's really not interesting. Like, oh, daddy got another phone. And there's a joke. I mean, since my daughter was 6, I would go up to her and, hey, Lex, I know you were really worried that I didn't have enough phones. And she would yell, Dad, you've got too many phones. And you're like, yeah, but I needed another one. And she'd go, ah. Gotta love the dad jokes. But I think it's going to be a while before she is putting the social experience on the phone to a degree where it would matter to her.